Hey guys, Johnson from Gadget Byte here. Today I've got with me another MSI gaming laptop. It's the GE75 Raider 9SF. It carries a price tag of upwards of $2,000 and comes with the latest 9-gen CPU and an RTX 2070 graphics card. Now I've been using this laptop for about 2 weeks or so, and to be honest, out of all the MSI laptops I've reviewed, this one right here is my favorite. But again, the question still remains, is it worth paying over $2,000? Let's find out. So the first thing you'll notice about this laptop is how the design on this one is refreshed. It's visibly different from other Raider series laptops. It moves to a matte finish aluminum panel this time, while the bottom panel seems to be polycarbonate or plastic, whatever you like to call it. But even so, there's minimal amount of flex on the keyboard deck, which I really like. And even aesthetically, there has been a lot of improvement. The whole design looks better. Maybe it's the kind of race car design up front or the super slim bezels on the screen, but you can tell just by looking at it that this one is different. And even with such slim bezels, they managed to put the webcam on top. However, the webcam as usual is not good at all. Also, since this one is a monster of a laptop, it's heavy and weighs like 2.65 kilograms without the charger. And I think the charger alone adds nearly a kilogram, so portability is like eh. Now let's dive right into the performance. This one packs the 9th gen hexa-core i7-9758 CPU and an RTX 2070 graphics. This combo makes it a gaming force to be reckoned with. Of course, its highest variant also comes with an RTX 2080, but I had such a great experience with this, I don't think anyone would have to pay extra for that. So right off, the performance is stellar. This 9th gen CPU gives you a performance boost of about 400 MHz from that of the i7-8750H. Now that's a considerable upgrade, which means higher clock speeds, both on the base clock as well as turbo mode. So compared to the last gen 8750H, which was already capable of squeezing quite a lot of performance, this one here does it even better. Kind of an overkill for an average gamer if you think about it. I ran Photoshop, Lightroom, After Effects and Premiere Pro all together just to test it, and apart from a slight delay time in loading in all of them, there was no performance hiccup whatsoever. I've had over 30 tabs open on Google Chrome and there was no freezing or lagging. Of course, that's partly due to the dual channel 16GB RAM and a fast 512GB NVMe SSD as well. Apps load fairly quickly too, read speeds are good, pretty standard, but the write speeds are amazing. And if that 512GB storage isn't enough, you can also get a 1TB hard disk drive in it. As for the gaming performance, this one has set a benchmark for me. I played highly graphics intensive games like Battlefield 5 and Metro Exodus, and both of them ran pretty smooth in my time. However, I didn't really test it on low-end games because, well, if it can run those most intensive games, then it will surely run other games easily. And playing Battlefield 5 on it has been one of the best gaming experiences for me. With the RTX or ray tracing on, I was getting about 73 frames per second on average and about 84 frames peak, and that was on the highest settings possible. With the RTX off, I got about 110 frames per second on average and 144 peak. That is quite a lot, and since I can barely make out any difference with the RTX on and RTX off, I chose to play the game with it turned off. Metro Exodus, however, didn't fare as well as Battlefield 5. You can actually play it with RTX on Ultra, RTX on High, and RTX off altogether. However, there wasn't much difference in between the two. I got about 65 FPS on average on RTX Ultra and something like 70 on RTX High settings, and due to its dark game settings, it makes more sense to play the game with RTX off. However, as strange as it may seem, the frame rates with the RTX off were considerably low, reaching about 60 FPS on average. But that could be the thermals acting up as well, because by that time I had been gaming about for like 4 hours and the CPU temperatures were exceeding 102 degrees centigrade. So I guess there was some thermal throttling. I then turned the fans to its max and it did help somewhat, but I didn't face this problem on Battlefield 5, so I don't know what to make of it. Nevertheless, the gaming experience has been by far the best, in my taste of course, and what helps the gaming experience immensely is the display and the speakers. I initially used to complain about the speakers on MSI gaming laptops because with the cooler boost fans on, the speakers weren't even audible. But this time, MSI has included what it calls these giant speakers. It's really loud and fires some great audio. Moving on to other aspects, on the front you get a 17.3-inch IPS LCD display. It has a full HD resolution with 144Hz refresh rate and 3 milliseconds of response time, which is another appealing factor about this laptop. Of course, that is nothing new for MSI gaming laptops, but still the large display with decent viewing angles helps a lot. It claims about 100% sRGB, there's 69% NTSC color gamut coverage and 74% Adobe RGB. And that is decent enough for your content creation needs too. Plus there's MSI True Color, which switches color modes according to your necessity. Onto the keyboard, it's a pretty standard SteelSeries Engine 3 with the individual key backlighting, which we all like so much. And as usual, you can program each key to light up a specific way, but that takes a lot of time, so I did not. But there are various color modes on the keyboard to go with your mood, and there's 4 levels of backlighting too. And besides the light show, the keyboard itself is great. Keys are well spaced and gives good tactile feedback. The keyboard travel is also very nice and typing on it never feels like a drag. The trackpad too is about the same. Tracking feels nice and smooth and the gestures are highly accurate. There are nice physical clicky buttons on them and I like the trackpad fairly well. Port selection is pretty nice too. You get 3 USB-A's, a USB-C without Thunderbolt 3 support, an HDMI, a mini display port, an SD card slot, Ethernet and an audio in and audio out jack. The only disappointing thing about this laptop is the battery. With a 51 watt-hour battery, the juice doesn't last as long as you'd expect. Not even 2.5 hours on normal usage, which was the usual for other MSI laptops. This one barely gives you 2 hours on regular usage and only about 30 minutes on gaming. And one more thing is that the matte aluminum texture on the front panel gathers a lot of finger smudges, which is also pretty difficult to clean. So there's that as well. So the MSI GE75 Raider 9SF is a great gaming laptop for sure. You get the latest of the processors and the graphics, plenty of memory, storage and great speakers. The display is pretty decent and the refreshed design only adds to its niceties. You can also easily upgrade the RAM up to 64 GB as the RAM is a dual channel as already mentioned. I only have a small complaint in the battery department, but since gaming laptops tend to be like this, there's very less to say in this matter. Now this version costs like $2,200 internationally. Of course, it depends on the configuration available and there are quite a few of them. For that price, I don't know it's a good deal out there, but here in Nepal it certainly is, for the price of rupees 3 lakhs. And this is the official price, so you get all the guarantees and the warranties you could possibly need. For me, this one has been the gaming laptop benchmark so far and I'd certainly recommend this one for buying. So this has been our review of the MSI GE75 Raider 9SF. Thank you for watching and namaste.